Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Let them come.
And we are back for another episode of our monthly recap of what we watch in the month of. And this month, obviously, we're covering in June. And joining me today is my co-host, Evan Harris, I guess, for my second one. Second in command today.
Glad to be here. You know, we were talking about it off stream, but, you know, June was a month where a lot came out. I tried to catch up as much as I could. But I've been busy doing other stuff. There's so much media, you know, can't catch up on everything. But I'm excited to finally talk about like the Acolyte, what I've seen so far from The Bear. Inside Out 2 was a fun ride, so I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, it's been mostly like a bigger month for TV, I feel, than more so movies.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
So we might keep it like Sabrina Carpenter's new album, short and sweet this time around. And joining us today too is Josh.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, it's been a light month for me, but a lot of TV to talk about, which is exciting. And I just want to say, congratulations to our new Tomato Meter approved critic, Edgar Ortega.
Thank you. I think like for me, like it's not even like I don't even really care about like being like certified or anything, but I just think it's cool that we can finally put stuff there like for the channel as well, not just for the other outlets that I work for. So,
yeah,
pretty.
When we actually do it,
we actually do it. Yeah. But yeah, June. I don't even remember what the hell I watched for the first time in June. Let me go back. Some of the Tribeca stuff. But I think we should maybe start with like something that Josh watched in May, I want to say, but we watched in June. It was Hitman on Netflix.
I just saw it last night. Perfect timing.
Really?
I just saw it last night. I've been late. I've been meaning to watch it, but then I didn't. Funny
it's
story.
a movie too, Evan.
Oh my god, I'll talk about it. But I've been so distracted this month playing Elden Ring. I've been so, you know, Elden Ring books.
Like, getting on that fantasy.
Getting in that fantasy. I was playing Bloodborne 2, the company from Software.
As someone who hasn't played a Soulsborne, should I play this?
I don't know if it's for you or not. It's not as like these games aren't like narratively.
Cool, but yeah, I don't know.
It's very much gameplay and atmospheric storytelling rather than like narrative. So It's not like your Last of Us, your Uncharted, where it's like you get a cutscene or whatever. But it's very much like you go to a location, you get some bits of lore, and they like breathe into the story for you. So yeah, but you know, last night we were like, you know, we're doing our stream today, and I was holding off. I was like, you know what? Let me finally watch this fucking Hitman movie. How great can this movie possibly be? Funny story. My dad watched it before me because I told him when it came out was May or June.
We should have him on here instead of you.
Maybe not, because I told him, I was like, hey, Dad, you should watch it. Everybody's telling me it's one of the best movies of the year. He's like, okay, I'll watch it. Texted me 3 hours later. He hated it. He hated the ending. And I was like,
okay.
Really? This is weird.
The ending is divisive.
I watched this, guys, and I tweeted out, I love it when a movie ends exactly the way I wanted it to. This movie was fantastic for me. I was waiting for something in my brain to be like, oh, I didn't like this, but I loved every bit of it. I mean, the only small, I gave it 4.5 out of 5. I love this movie. The only small criticism, like it could get too goofy at times, but for me, I loved the chemistry between them. I love this like romantic comedy. It's not even like an action comedy. It's pretty much just a romantic comedy built around this hitman, narrative, and it was just so compelling. Like every bit of it from beginning to end, I was so addicted to every crazy swerve this movie made. Glenn Powell sells every single second of it. This guy, I don't know if this is his best, my favorite role of his. He's done a lot of great stuff. Set It Up is still, peak.
Until Twisters.
No twisters, exactly. But man, he was fantastic in it. Adria Arjona was fantastic as well. Like these people invented chemistry because I loved every single thing they did, and it didn't pull full spoilers for Hitman. I can't talk about it without getting to spoilers. I'm sorry. So please watch the movie. But like I was worried that she would like the cliche where it's like something gets revealed and the other person who was unaware has to be like, I hate you now and just get out of my life forever. But it didn't really do that. Like they really kept with each other. Their connection was so strong by the end of the movie. I loved everything about it. Like I don't know. I'm going around in circles here. I love.
It's funny because like I don't remember if it was the first or second trailer, but I saw it and I thought the twist of the movie was gonna be that she was gonna be the hitman.
Dude, I was thinking, I was like, wait, is she playing him the whole time? That would be crazy. But
yeah. So yeah, like I was waiting for that, and then like for that I was watching the movie, and like I was waiting for it, and then like the actual like twist or whatever you want to call it happens of like no, she's just like she just takes his word a little bit too seriously. Like she kind of like unlocks something in her that maybe was there all along, and they kind of like complement each other. Like I don't even want to say in a toxic way because the relationship is not even toxic. It's just like
no.
I don't know, like liberated in a sense of how like they're like finally letting their true selves out with the help of the other. I thought that was really cool.
We'll talk about that with a different topic, but I love it when relationships reveal. You're right. It's not toxic. It's just they're doing a wrong-ish. Wrong is a weird word to use, but like it's built on lies, so they're not being completely honest with each other. But in a sense, they are helping each other in a human sense by getting out the true nature of who they are, and there is a balance there. And I think they find that the way the movie talks about change and identity was really cool and interesting. I had a fun time tracking it all. Josh,
love it. Watching in the movie theater.
Oh, you saw it in the movie theater, right?
I saw it at the Egyptian in Hollywood, which is like the best possible theater to watch this in. It was wonderful. I think.
How was the crowd?
It was a decent crowd. Not sold out, which sucks, but it definitely enhanced the movie.
Did they give out the little like cardboard things like the posters?
No, they didn't.
No,
I wish they did. They did that for Maestro, but not for Hitman. But yeah, this movie's a blast. I've rewatched it this month. I think I love it even more. It's probably to be a new comfort film for me. It's just like Richard Linklater can do it all, and he does it all in this movie. Like the action sequences, even though there's not really many, like they are really dynamic and interesting. Dwin Powell and Adria Arjona's chemistry is literally the best I've seen this year, probably. It's just absolutely electric. And yeah, I like the ending. After the movie, when I saw it, this couple on the LA Metro, which, side note, is literally hell, the nightmare of a place to be, the metro system in LA. Terrible. But they were like complaining about the believability of the ending. I was like, come on, it's a fucking movie.
So yeah, let's get into this. What were people criticizing about this? I was waiting for the ball to drop, and it never dropped. I was like, what were people criticizing about this movie? I'm curious.
I thought it was fine. I thought it worked.
Was it just them killing Jasper?
I think, and maybe it's like people might not. Yeah. Also, I feel like people were like expecting for this movie to end with like both of them getting like punished for what they did, like getting their comeuppance. Maybe I don't know, but I don't know.
I was thinking that, and I'm like, if they get caught, I'm walking out. Like, I'm sitting on my couch, but like, I'm turning Netflix off. But like, no, it's like I'm watching this movie, and the movie is telling me to love this couple. Why would I want to watch them get punished for anything that they're doing? They're not doing anything bad. I mean, she killed an asshole. Okay, cool. But it's like
two. Yeah.
The worst complaint is like complaining about something that didn't happen instead of like processing and thinking about why it did happen. Yeah. That's like same with Last Jedi, same with a lot of things we love. Like people need to like engage with the thing they are watching and not just
even if you don't like it, like at least engage with
it.
Try to understand.
people set these rules that just break creativity. It's astonishing for me. Like, yeah, we'll get into it.
But who cares? They're like doing a Bonnie and Clyde riff at the end. Like, that's fucking awesome.
It doesn't matter. And I was waiting. Like, not everything needs to be believable. Like you said, it's a fucking movie.
No, it's a fucking movie, man.
And second of all, like,
it's not for believability.
Exactly. It's like, are you fun? Are you having fun? Are you entertained? And sometimes, like, your entertainment is predicated on the believability of something. But for me, when I'm watching this, I don't really care about that. I'm caring about how the relationship, how the relationship can go for.
Ultimately,
like, we watch a lot of rom-coms, right, Josh? And it's like a lot of it is based on like the magic of love,
schmaltzy and like magic, and like that's the whole genre. That's what they were going for with this.
Exactly,
like grounded like piece of realism.
Not everything's going to be super realistic. It's goofy.
It's like,
it's fun. Yeah,
it's very selective.
Right?
It's very selective criticism because, like, you mean to tell me that you can believe that this guy is capable of doing all of this elaborate makeup and like prosthetics to like pretend that to be other people, but like you can't believe that he got away with it with his girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And yeah, it is based on a true story, but I think, of course, Linklater takes it to the nth degree with what's going on here.
You guys need to watch more Linklater movies. That's like the homework for the year. For you
I watched this. I'm like, is it their first Linklater movie? Is it?
I don't know. School of Rock.
Okay, yeah, I saw School of Rock. Yeah. So yeah.
But you guys need to watch Dazed and Confused. Everybody Wants Some. The Before trilogy.
Everybody Wants Some. Looks so boring.
They're on sale right now. Did that bot set?
Everything Wants or the Before
50% off.
$50.
Also, like, this conversation about like how people engage with movies reminds me of Josh, this when we went to a double feature of X and Pearl, and before the first movie played, like, this guy in front of us was talking about how it wasn't realistic that we're dancing at the beginning of La La Land, like on the freeway. And I'm like, it's a musical. What are you talking about?
Musicals are steeped in artifice. Like, come on.
Has he seen any musical ever?
Yeah.
Like, Sound of Music? Like, come on, okay. That's funny. But yeah, this movie, guys, it rocks, and I'm with you 100%, Josh. Like, this might be something with the Glenn Powell and like comfort movies. Like, set it up.
Yeah.
This
setup is the ultimate comfort movie.
Even Top Gun Maverick, I love that. I see that movie.
You would love Everybody Wants Some then, because he's great in that.
That movie looks so boring to me, man.
It's not. It's so like just dudes being dudes, and it's so fun.
I don't want to watch dudes being dudes.
You like Top Gun Maverick.
That's true. Great point. But that has Tom Cruise in it.
This has Glenn Powell.
Very true. And I have a feeling Twister is going to be.
And Zoe Deutsch is in it too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Love Zoe. So yeah, this movie it rocks. It rocks. I have a hard time judging it, like, or putting it in my ranking. I'm like, where did I put this? I had so much fun watching this movie. I can't wait to see it again.
The Notes app scene, top 5 scenes of the year.
Oh, dude,
fucking incredible.
Fantastic, and we talk about
comedy is like unreal in that
peak, and we talk about like the action of this movie. I think it's like the action of the dialogue. My heart was pounding during that scene. I'm like, is she gonna break? Is she gonna say Gary by mistake?
And the fact that they don't break is like perfect.
Exactly
what the movie needs. Yeah.
And again, this was where the ball could have dropped for me. Like when he walks in and she just like continues to hate him or continues to not believe him, I'd been like, oh man. But he immediately buys into it, and she immediately
because they're so in sync with each other. Yeah.
Exactly. It was sexy, cool,
also, romantic. Her delivery of who the fuck is Gary?
Who the fuck is Gary? Oh
so
man.
Good.
Amazing.
Yeah, this movie, it's so good.
It's so good. Again, I was worried. I was like, my dad didn't like it. And I heard some people on social media saying like, well, it's not as good as I heard from the festivals last year. I'm like, okay, what's happening? And then I finally saw it, and I'm like,
yeah, there's been some like everyone's saying it's not as good because I got that huge buzz at TIFF last year, but
yeah,
I thought it was warranted. I thought it was very
Me
good.
too. Yeah,
I
I
saw
would.
it with the audience, so like I don't know.
I saw it with my count, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was great. We had a great time.
I wish it's
Um,
not like the actual theatrical release.
Oh yeah, wasn't the movie only like $10 million?
Yeah, and Netflix bought it for 20. So if a studio would have bought it for 20,
It played at
they would've-
Netflix's
they would've-
theater for only a week.
Yeah.
Right, that makes no sense.
That's wild.
Why even own a theater?
Yeah.
Who'd want to go to that? Not me. But okay. Yeah, Hitman was. You said that came out in May.
Well, he watched it
I
in
saw
May.
it. Man.
Nate,
But it came out in
Netflix.
June in
Got it.
Netflix.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's next, Bob?
I'm thinking we save the bear for the end if Evan has to tap out, so me and Edgar just go into it.
Yeah, you guys can go into spoilers if you. You know what? Let's get this over with. I know Daz probably didn't see it. Did you see the Bikeriders?
Oh,
I did.
Oh, you saw it too. Okay. I didn't like this movie. I didn't like this movie.
Quite a bit.
I thought it was, pure. It's a movie that's just built on vibes, in my opinion.
That's my shit.
I didn't buy it. I was having, I hate doing this when I'm in a movie theater, but I started checking my time. I'm like, what is happening here? I couldn't get attached to the characters and their plight, their issues, the lack of like a full, I'm not saying every movie needs like a strong narrative to get me engaged, but the lack of any kind of compelling storyline or overall arc or anything kind of really took me out of the movie. I appreciate a lot of the performances. Tom Hardy and Austin Butler were really good here. I didn't love Jodie's accent a lot of the time. No. It felt very goofy at times too. Like I didn't know what kind of tone they were going for.
So fully.
She what? Oh yeah.
It makes it work, at least for.
I admire it. It just didn't work for me. I guess. It was mixing like this goofy tone at times with just like a drama or a slow burn neo-western kind of vibe to it in terms of like this bike rider gang, the rise and fall of it all. Like, is it really trying to talk about that at all, or is it just like I didn't know what the movie was really going for? Overall, this movie overall just didn't really work for me throughout its runtime. I just found myself being bored, non-compelled by the actors. I think there was something strong there between Austin Butler's character and Tom Hardy's character, and I was kind of reaching for that, but didn't really go all the way for me.
The challengers for straight people between those three.
I wish I had that challenger's energy.
I was surprised by this. I think it really worked for me. Like as someone who does like vibes only, like let's get to know these characters, let's really live with them, films and stories. I really end up really enjoying this. I thought it was a lot more warm and like existential than I thought it would be. It really dives into like their toxic masculinity a lot and how they deal with that and how it like subverts like what you would think of a biker gang. Like, hey, these sad dudes are sad and they care for each other. And I think Jodie Comer like cut that goofy accent but really made it work, and owned it, and I think her performance was really fucking great. Same with Tom Hardy. That's like the craziest accent of the year, and their performance is fucking incredible. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I don't know what he's saying half of the time, but I'm like, yeah, keep it going, man.
Exactly.
No, but I think I feel like I'm more so like in the middle between you guys. I really liked it. I didn't love it. I don't mind these type of movies where it's just bias, where you're just like living with these characters. You don't. There's not a lot of plot per se, but I felt like pretty engaged, especially like there's like this like party scene where like you start seeing things going wrong for this club. And the relationship that Austin Butler has with Jodie Comer and his absence. So yeah, I did enjoy like the character relationships. I felt more compelled by the relationship between Tom Hardy and Jodie Comer at times than the actual relationship that was between Austin and her. But yeah, I think for the most part, like I didn't necessarily like felt like emotionally I was fully invested, but like towards the end, like once the whole big moment with Tom Hardy happens and like you kind of see like this chain reaction happen, like it did kind of get to me a little bit. But yeah, so I liked it. Okay.
Yeah, I forgot, the credits were rolling and I was kind of pondering this movie. I forgot this was a Jeff Nichols movie. And I'm a huge fan of like Mud. I think that was also Jeff Nichols
Yeah.
with Matthew
I think this is my
McConaughey.
first of his films. I haven't
Midnight
seen.
Special too.
Midnight Special, which I loved. Both of those are very dry movies at times. They're not trying to be like super emotionally gravitating, but it builds in a way that's kind of like unforgettable for me. Like the relationship between Adam and the kid, or not Adam, uh, Michael Shannon and the kid in Midnight Special, and then Matthew McConaughey and the kid in Mud. I love those dynamics, and those dynamics get to breathe and evolve and change over the course of the movie. This one just felt like to me, I'm like watching this dynamic change, but it doesn't get executed 100% completely for me. But I'll always go see a Jeff Nichols movie. I like his direction a lot of the time. But okay, what else came out this June? Let me go through it.
The Watchers.
The Watchers, another movie that I didn't like that much. I think I liked it less the more I
No
think about it.
spoilers for this one because I do want to see it, but I just haven't had time.
Yeah.
No problem. I think the more I think about it, the less I liked it. When I walked out, I was like, that was fine. But the more you think about it, I'm like, maybe it can go down a little bit. I'm not sure, but it's not bad. It's just it's just very basic.
Yeah, the ideas are cool. The concept itself is really cool. I just don't think the execution is fully there.
Yes, 100%. The lore, the concepts. I'm watching this, and then in the first act, I whispered to my brother, I'm like, this is what's going on, right? He's like, I think so. And it is what's going on. Like, there wasn't really anything that really shocked me or surprised me about the quote unquote reveal. But the way it was executed really dampens the movie. I think it has a very strong first act. Then it kind of like it builds to something. And I don't think what it was building to really moved me or wowed me.
Yeah, it kind of goes from like this horror vibe to like fantasy, like almost like a fairy tale. And
Yeah.
I'm like it's cool. Like again, it's a cool concept, but I don't think like the switch is very smooth. But
Yeah,
I also like
exactly,
like the cinematography, how it's shot, and like the production design, especially like that little house. Like it's really really cool.
really cool. And you can see why people are so gravitated towards the like teaser trailer and the trailers, like the production design, the artistry involved here is really special, really cool. Shyamalan daughter, I forget her name now. She
Ishana,
has
I think.
Ishana, yeah. She has a great eye for like the horror of it all in the beginning. I just think like it doesn't flow throughout the entire movie. I think, yeah, script wise, it was just it progressively got messier and messier. And there were themes that they wanted to try and convey that just really felt blatant and not as like I don't have a problem with things being blatant, but there are certain character moments that are just like, are you serious? A certain character moment that has to happen in order for you to feel something. I'm just like, it was just so, in general, just very messy.
Or character motivations that don't really add up with what came like in the first
Yes. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. And overall, yeah, I thought it was just fine. It's a fine horror picture, but there was
Dakota
a lot
Fanning
of
is really good in it.
The what?
Dakota Fanning is really good in it.
Oh yeah, love her. She was great. Yeah, Dakota Fanning was really good. And yeah, again, I love the atmosphere of it all too. It's a very creepy atmosphere that's kind of seeded into this movie, at least in the first act. But yeah, that was The Watchers. I'm excited to see what she can do next. She has a fantastic family of horror
And
inside
I
of
can't
her.
wait for Trap.
I cannot wait for Trap. I didn't want to see that second trailer, but the second trailer played in front of A Quiet Place Day One, and I was like, oh shit.
I've been trying to avoid these trailers.
Me too. Like I saw the first trailer, and I got a theory.
I just like
the second trailer.
down and just focus on my phone.
Yeah, I should have done that. But I was like, oh, I didn't see this yet, and then boom, I was like, oh, I can't stop watching. But yeah, I am still excited for Trap, of course. We'll be talking about that in our August.
I love that we have 2 horror movies surrounding a concert this year. That's fucking cool.
I did see the Smile trailer for the first time.
Hands down too. The trailer is so good for that.
That trailer is really good. I love Naomi Scott. She should be in front of everything.
Exactly.
But that sucks. It's the same thing. Like when I walked out of A Quiet Place, I'm like, "Where's Lupita? Like Lupita should be headlining everything." And
it's crazy that this is her first lead role, maybe ever.
That's insane.
Right? Is it? Maybe Queen of Chocolate is probably the only other one.
Yeah, blockbuster wise, though, you might be right.
Yeah, I can't think of any other movies that she's led, and that's crazy. Because she's one of the best we have right now.
Us, yeah, she kind of leads Us.
Oh, Us, yeah, okay, yeah.
Is she in The Woman King? Why is she on here?
Another 355 event.
The
Was
what?
she leading that?
Oh my god! Edgar just reminded me of a movie I totally forgot as soon as I walked out of the theater.
She's a co-lead, yeah.
The 355. That was one with Winter Soldier homeboy, right? Fuck.
Simon Kinberg.
Sebastian Stan, yeah.
Sebastian Stan. That was Simon Kimber directed. Oh gosh. When did
That's
this come
a
out?
bad track record.
Was that 2020?
2022.
2022. I think January though.
That felt like it came out years ago.
It did. It does. Yeah. Oh boy.
Did you guys see that?
I did.
Yes, I saw it in theaters. Yeah.
Of course I did.
If it's an action movie in
there was
January,
nothing to watch.
Yeah.
Well, January.
Was that?
I mean, you'll get your occasional Megans or Plane.
Plane was peak. I love Plane.
Or Mickey 7.
Mickey
Oh,
17.
God. Or 17, yeah.
We'll see
Lupita, I guess, is top billing on The Wild Robot, which is cool.
Oh yeah, does she is? Is she not the robot, right?
I think she is a robot, yeah.
But does she? Yeah, she does speak, kind of. But yeah, what other movies? Let's finally dive into Pixar's latest here.
Let's do it. Watched it on Tuesday.
Sweet. It's
Finally.
about Inside Out 2, directed by not Pete Docter this time, but directed by Kelsey Mann, who this is his first directorial debut for Pixar, I believe, even though he's been within the Pixar brain trust creatively for a number of years now. But he's finally getting a swing of things as Pete Docter is, headlining the Pixar team now. But I really loved this movie. I thought this was a very special movie. It's hard to follow up a super creative juggernaut in the first Inside Out, which felt so, new, unique, fresh, etc. But this movie really follows up through Riley's journey in such a perfect way. The way they establish Riley's adolescence, her young adult issues, her problems, her struggles with her friends were all very relatable. It was hilarious. It was cute. It was funny. I just had a fun time following Riley's journey and getting inside of her head here with all these new emotions. These new emotions felt like they've been with her for such a long time. Like, I loved seeing anxiety here. I loved seeing Io's jealousy. That they really seeded themselves into the story in a very natural way that I loved. And anxiety made for such a perfect antagonist to Joy's dilemma. I watched Inside Out 1 prior to watching this again, just a rewatch, and I loved Joy's arc in that movie about accepting sadness. So I was very curious to see, how hard is it just for her to, when she comes across anxiety, to just be like, hey, I accept you, anxiety. But they do it in a very cool way where she's just, anxiety is, much more of the aggressor, much more of the person trying to be like Joy, how she admires Joy. Like, it really puts that relationship on his head. And I love how they're all trying to fight for the same thing in terms of like Riley's health, but in remarkably different ways. But you could totally see where anxiety is coming from as well the whole way through. It's not like this super evil, emotion. It's a very natural emotion, of course, based on anxiety, that I love seeing evolve over the film. It was a really special movie.
Yeah, I quite love this movie. I think it's a step down from the first movie, but not that big of a step. Like it's a small little step. I think it doesn't have the emotion the first movie has for me. The first movie is like top 5 Pixar for me. Like I rewatched it when I was sick a couple weeks ago and was crying like nonstop. I don't know if that was from being sick or the movie, but that movie is so emotional for me. I've always loved it, and it's just like so beautiful, and I really love this sequel. I think it like deals with interesting ideas. Obviously, anxiety. Something I think we could all relate with. And they do it really well. And my hawk is annoying, but that's the point. I think this doesn't have the emotional highs, but it has a really compelling story. And the panic attack scene, it did get quite up there in terms of like emotional highs for me. That was like really beautiful and really well done. And the scene where like Julia finally comes back to the console and she's skating, right? Riley's skating, like that got me. That is so fucking beautiful.
Yeah, I'll agree with most of the stuff that you guys have said. I would say this is not as emotional as the first one, but I would maybe make the argument that it's funnier than the first one. I think that entire sequence.
Oh yeah. I died during some of those scenes. Like it's really hilarious.
Yeah, like the entire sequence where they're like trapped in the jar in the bunker or whatever thing, and they find the Apache. So like it's so freaking hilarious. Like again, like I don't think it's as emotional, but it makes up with the comedy. I think it's a little bit more sharper, and a lot of it also comes from anxiety, like the way that Maya just portrays that character of how like fast she talks and everything. Ayo, like again. Ayo is Ayo. She's freaking incredible. But yeah, like this movie's I enjoyed it. I wouldn't would I rewatch this again? Maybe not anytime soon, but yeah.
I mean, I think it's worth it just for Pouchy. that needs real.
Pouchy, yeah.
And the fucking video game character that like as he's walking out, he's like glitching all over the place.
Perfect.
Yeah. Also some really cool visuals. Also with like the whole like the tree thingy that's gonna like
thread,
the thread, and also like the storm sequence. Like it's really good looking.
Good point. Yeah, we always, recently I was on another podcast and we were criticizing, the Pixar budgets, and it's like these budgets are getting like 150 minimum to like 200 million. Like, where do these budgets go if the Pixar animation isn't exactly evolving from picture to picture? It's like the animation you get in one movie is not too drastic from what you see in another Pixar movie. Having said that, I
somewhat disagree with that.
I would say the peak would probably be Toy Story 4 for me, and since then it's been like.
Well, I think they've been different, like in terms of style. Like Turning Red is very different from this movie, and it's very different from Luca.
Turning Red is a unique film for sure, but it still isn't like as in terms
Elemental
of like
is even like different in terms of style. Like I feel like
those are in terms of like character animation for sure, but like the world building, the world
like fidelity, I think there's like they can't really do better.
Say it again.
In terms of like fidelity and like the actual like quality of the animation, I think they've hit it like a wall.
Yeah,
but it's because it already looks fucking great, and Toy Story 4 was probably that wall.
Yeah, I mean, Toy Story 4 looks great, of course. You can clearly see the difference between Toy Story 3 and then go to watch Toy Story 4. But for me, it's just like certain world aesthetics aren't really like pushing or moving me personally. But for Inside Out 2, there's a lot of things within the new features that they added to Riley's world that really kind of moved me. Like the whole storm sequence, the whole back of Riley's mind setting was very unique and very.
I think the world building in that first movie was so fucking incredible and really like lent itself to make this like even better in terms of like expanding the world.
It's so cool because like there's infinite possibilities. This is based on Riley's mind, her imagination. Imagination is endless. So just like this story and just like Riley's mind, you can go to infinite possibilities in terms of different sections of her
That's
mind.
why, like, I'm hesitant about the precedent like this movie's success will be for Disney and for Pixar, and like they'll probably just focus on sequels for the next 10 years, which it worries me. But like, if any franchise, I guess, was gonna be this hit, I'm glad it's this one, and I would love to see more films in the series. So I
Is
think that this one-
Elio Pixar or
Elio's
Disney?
Pixar.
Okay.
but that was like
Interesting.
before this whole like change of
Yeah,
movement.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, maybe
yeah.
that's ahead. Maybe it'll be.
Well, we
Hopefully,
talked-
but I'm not confident.
We talked about that in another podcast. It was on this channel called Orange Grove 55. So if people want to watch that, we spent like an hour and a half talking about this. But just a little bit here, it's like I hope the success of Inside Out 2 allows audiences, and following the success ish of Elemental 2, where Elemental didn't get the best reviews, people continued to see it.
Though.
It had legs. Why did it have legs? People were gravitating towards the story at large that was being told. And following Elemental success, Inside Out 2's huge success, hopefully that is simply getting audiences comfortable with seeing Pixar movies in cinemas again, rather than being comfortable enough to wait for streaming, which Pixar had to deal with. Unlike other big animated hits like DreamWorks, didn't really have that issue throughout the pandemic and even now. So I'm hopeful that people are going to continue to go see Pixar movies, not just sequel Pixar movies. So hopefully the success of this bleeds into Elio, where it used to be like, yeah, the Pixar movies can turn out like decent and still make bank. So even if Elio isn't like the best movie ever, hopefully people are still willing to go see it in theaters. So I'm very curious to see how that does as well. Because then, if not, then this is exactly.
If it flops again, we're fucked.
Yeah, but Pete Docter did say like the director of what's his name, Luca, forget his name. He is developing an original Pixar film right now.
For how long?
What?
For how long would that still be in development, though? That's the question.
I mean, probably a long time. Animation takes a while, but I have
confidence. I don't know, man. It's interesting.
I have confidence. I was worried about Pete Docter.
I love Pete Docter, but like the statements you've said recently, could just be like done behind his head. It does worry me, but yeah. We'll see.
It worries me. But I talked about that in large. It's not the best comment. He's kind of putting the blame on those unique Pixar films in Elemental, Luca, Turning Red, rather than
like some of the best films they've made.
Exactly, and you can't really judge success based on stuff that went straight to streaming. It's like they were still the most streamed movies of those years. So I think that was misplaced, but at the same time, I know he values creativity. Given his range so far has been predicated on so much creative and unique faces.
His work as a director too, like he cares so much about like personality and like the human viewpoint, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm confident that he'll continue to do that moving forward. It's not just going to be, if for anything, at worst, we're going to get Inside Out 3. I don't know what other Pixar movie is craving for a sequel. Besides Inside Out
5, we'll probably get Incredibles 3.
You said what?
Incredibles 3. I wouldn't be surprised if we did that.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Or the reboot, whatever they're doing, allegedly.
Yeah.
There's a reboot?
That's not happening. Zero chance.
Yeah,
0 chance.
Somebody needs to write a book of how much of a damage Disney did to themselves with the whole like streaming release, because I think
destroyed Marvel.
Don't get me started right now.
No. But like, here's the thing. Here's why I think it's fascinating. They're the only studio that got fucked by it, because Universal and Warner Brothers did it too, and they're doing just fine.
They're doing just fine.
Yeah, and like for example, Dune and what was it? Godzilla versus Kong, like
those movies. Warner Brothers still has a banner slate of theatrical releases.
Yeah, and not only that, but like those movies did fine in theaters and in streaming when they first released, and once they went to just theaters alone, big hit. What the fuck is Disney doing? Like, well, I know why it happened, because it's those movies do appeal more to families, and families, want to save money and just wait along. But yeah, like it's just like fascinating just how messed up.
It's so interesting. Yeah, like you said, Universal and WB is getting like fucked up behind the scenes because of Zaslav, but in terms of their slate and their future slate, it's still pretty A plus. So yeah, Disney really needs to adjust themselves, and I think they're on the right direction, given what we've seen this year. But yeah, what else do we have here besides Inside Out 2?
Inside Out 2, a lovely movie. I had a great time with it. Wonderful.
Will you say it again?
It was a great movie.
Yeah, fantastic.
My screening was mostly adults, so hey, maybe there's hope.
That's good. Yeah. Maybe this is our generation who are just so yeah. Did anybody else see Bad Boys Ride or Die?
Somebody watched Bad Boys for the first time, and it wasn't me.
Oh, with the Josh?
I watched 20 minutes of it, then gave up.
Oh, what?
Oh,
wow! I was in the right headspace for it.
But Bikeriders, guys, Bikeriders though.
That's in the theater.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't at least like. I'm glad you turned it off and just didn't fall asleep on it like some other people.
Hey.
What?
What I see, I liked, but I'll return to it eventually.
It's funny because I haven't seen these movies in quite some time. Like, I grew up watching the Bad Boys movies, so I rewatched it on Hulu. Bad Boys 1, Bad Boys 2. I didn't rewatch Bad Boys 3 because it came out recently. I already remembered it. But I really admire this franchise. It's not like the best of Michael Bay, especially in the 90s Michael Bay era. I still enjoy like The Rock so much. Probably my favorite Michael Bay movie. And of course, Jake Gyllenhaal's whatever it's called, Ambulance. But Michael Bay's like signature aesthetic is so integral to why I loved Bad Boys growing up.
Bad Boys 2 is so fucking fun, man.
Bad Boys 2 is wild. I'm like, how did this movie happen?
Get it made.
Yeah. I'm glad it did. But I really had a fun time with Bad Boys Ride or Die. I really like the directors. I'm never going to get their names right. But they did a great job. They did a fun job with Bad Boys 3, and they did a great job here. I think I might like the previous one better than this one.
I'm the other way around. I rewatch all three movies, and I think like I still like 3, but I feel like
that might be the weakest for you.
The energy it doesn't fully commit to the bits of the first two, and I feel like this one does. Like it's way more like crazy in terms of like tone and like comedy wise.
Is it Vanessa Hudgens in these new movies?
Yeah,
1%. But I mean, she's pretty solid in it. But like, I think the dynamic between Mark and Marcus and Mike, whatever, between the two main leads was better in the last movie. Marcus's whole arc, wasn't really that compelling in this movie. Marcus. Yeah, Martin Lawrence's arc wasn't really that compelling. It was pretty damn goofy in this time around. But I had, like you, had a fun time with the energy of this movie a bit more than the last one. And, the action comedy of it all, I think they finally nailed that perfect balance between action and comedy as well. In this movie, it goes to some wild, crazy places. The dialogue is crazy. But I had an extremely fun time with this. I thought it was very engaging, very fun, very wild. But it wasn't anything super out of the ordinary from this franchise. And it had one of the best crowd-pleasing moments of the entire
I know exactly what you're talking about, yeah.
With the RJ? What the fuck is
Reggie or whatever?
Reggie. Yeah. The Reggie sequence is top-tier cinematic gold, and the whole crowd was laughing. I was in tears. It was a super, super, like, this was a sold-out theater for me. And the crowd was just losing it. Like, it just made for such a great time.
Sold out, Evan, but I thought Will Smith's career was done.
I know, what happened? I thought, come on. I thought he destroyed Hollywood. How can people forgive him? Oh!
The slap heard around the world,
Exactly, right, guys? So, yeah, by the way, I'm so glad this movie's doing well at the box office, just to put that nonsense to bed, finally. But, yeah, like I had a very, very, very fun time watching this movie. It was good.
Yeah.
Will I rewatch it anytime soon? Probably not.
Probably
But
not.
the theater experience alone.
How can you like everything I've seen from the previous two movies? Like, how could the Batgirl movie be bad? How?
Right?
Oh yeah.
Like, come on.
They're cooking.
I'm with
Also, I will say another plus for this movie, even though like the villain is very cliche, I think it's a step up from the last one. Like at least I don't know. I feel like there's
you.
like
I think so.
more like he has like not that like, he has more to do, but like he's more involved in the action, and it makes for some really cool sequences, like the like helicopter sequence.
True.
Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. No spoilers, but there's one line that just had me dying. It was goofy. It's like, how do you know how to drive this airplane? And one of the characters is like, I'm a drug dealer. And that was it. That's just it. And I'm just like, okay, cool.
You know, I'll buy it.
I'll buy it. And the movie just goes right along. I'm like, this is why I love this franchise. So, like, okay, it doesn't matter. I just found it to be very funny. But yeah, I like this franchise a lot. And if they do another one, I'll be for it. I don't think they will. But, this movie's a success, so you never really know.
Do you think we'll ever get Miss Marvel season 2?
I hope so. I mean, will we get any more Marvel Disney Plus shows? I guess we'll have to wait for D23 this year to see some updates on that. But
I'll be there.
like in comparison to all the other ones that we've gotten, yes, we really need to because it's still my.
I
second
saw.
favorite.
Remember how I saw Ironheart footage like what 2 years ago now?
2 years ago.
Yeah.
It looked good.
Isn't that coming? That has to be coming next year, right? Like, what other Marvel shows?
I don't know.
What's happening with TV that they're taking like 3 years between seasons?
Yeah, that's just TV. Like, TV is taking 3 years between seasons. Video
Not the
games are
Bear.
taking 5 years.
Best show doing it right.
Yeah, not the Bear. Thank
Bear's
God.
doing a season a year.
I'm trying to think what else is going.
I heard. I saw a tweet that Daredevil Born Again season 2 is filming this year, which is crazy.
Doesn't super surprise me because remember it was supposed to be 18 episodes, but now it's just gonna be
maybe that made sense.
yeah,
Right.
99 probably. So it doesn't surprise me that they can start so soon.
Sometimes I think about like, and I love House of the Dragon, but I'm like, they were doing this every year for Game of Thrones, and that show had like way more over stuff with shit. Like, come on,
That's crazy how they're doing that yearly. That's
I think
wild.
pandemic fucked things up, and just the whole streaming model. You know,
The whole streaming model is just, it's taking forever for TV shows to come out. And Josh, you know,
because they're costing the most they've ever cost.
for sure.
And actors are busy, and this is the whole thing.
And you know, as a video game guys, like it takes 4 to 5 years for Final Fantasy games.
Oh, the industry's a mess right now.
It takes 5 years for Spider-Man sequels. Like it takes 5 years for AAA games now for no reason whatsoever.
It's
Where
been 4 years since Last of Us Part 2 came out, and we got still it's early development on Naughty Dog's
no Naughty Dog
you
game
got
has
the
come out.
updates. You got the updates.
got the
Yes,
remasters.
Yeah, thank God for that. But I'll play Last of Us 2 20 more times. Of
We were
course.
gonna have a multiplayer game, but that I can't because
That I can't.
the whole fucking initiative.
Yeah, it's crazy for me.
The gaming, don't get me started. That'll be a whole 2-hour episode.
That's a whole other podcast. Like why the gaming industry is taking forever.
It's so fucked right now, man. Layoffs every other week.
Like I remember when Uncharted games every 2 to 3 years we get a new Uncharted game. It's like that's perfect. 2 to 3 years.
When Xbox closed down the studio that made their best game from last year, it makes no fucking sense.
It's wild.
No sense.
So yeah, people are they're drowning. But what else do we have here?
You know what's not drowning? Sadly, Doctor Who.
Yeah, you can do that.
Doctor Who. See, the first season of this new revival ended, and it's a banner. There's a 2-part finale this month, and there's also an episode titled Road with Jonathan Groff that is fucking incredible, and it's very much like Doctor Who doing like Victorian era, like that century type of storytelling. It's really cool, and it's like an alien invasion type thing, and Jonathan Groff and Shuri Dotla are gay, and it's great. And awesome. Yeah, and the 2-part finale is good. They do a little Rey and the Last Jedi type story beat, which I liked a lot.
I heard about this. It
So
sounds
it's very good.
cool.
And Evan, you would love the show. You need to fucking watch it.
I know. I heard about the Rey's comparison to my timeline.
It's great. It's so good.
Yeah, that's really cool. So
But
I
yeah.
got time. When does the next season come out? Next year?
Yeah.
All right.
There's a Christmas special every year.
Okay.
And new season probably same time next year.
That's cool. Yeah. I'll
And
catch up.
the girl from Andor is to be the main companion that season 2.
Is the blonde girl leaving, or
She's like, you'll see if you ever watch or her story kind of wraps up a little bit, but she'll still be around. But what's give me Andor character names. It's
I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, she's coming in, which is really exciting.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I've seen like every week, like my timeline will be flooded with Doctor Who stuff. So I'd be like, I finally have to dive in. It's been a busy summer.
It has.
That's really cool though. What else you guys got? We skipped over.
Do you want to discuss kinds of kindness?
I was about to say Kinds of Kindness, which was also very, 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 very good for me. I was nervous, guys. I was coming in here. I'm a huge Yorgos
Before
fan.
we did this,
let
me bring up real quick. I watched Killing of a Sacred Deer, Evan's favorite movie for the
I'm about to talk
time.
about that. I couldn't stand that movie.
I love that. I loved it.
I hated Killing the Sacred Deer.
It is fucking weird. It is crazy, but it is my shit for sure.
I let the theater feeling just empty inside. And usually I don't mind feeling that way. I don't mind feeling like darkness in the pit of my stomach. But this one
is fucked up, dude.
It left me feeling
that movie is so fucked up.
It's so fucked up. It just left me feeling ill. But like it was fucked up from beginning to end. Like this movie was like straight darkness for me. There was 0 points of levity,
man.
0 points of anything. It's just creeping darkness.
I think the dry dialogue and the just I think that was a bit of levity, just how absurd the dialogue sounded. It was very much dry and what's the word? I don't know. I can't think.
Yeah, I understand. Maybe if I rewatched this, because this was my first introduction to Yorgos, and then a year later or so I saw The Favorite and I loved it. But different writer. But I was so nervous getting into this movie because I'm like, is it going to be like that dark, dry, vibe? If I'm not going to dig this like I didn't with Killing a Sacred Deer, but no. And I was also nervous because this is an anthology, and I'm usually not a fan of anthology pictures. But this one, holy shit, I loved Kinds of Kindness. I am addicted to this movie. The more I think about it, the more I love it. Even some of the stories.
That $80 sweatshirt.
No, there. Movie props should not cost this much. Why? Who is buying that? Anyways,
the hat though, maybe.
The hat though is really cool. I'm not a huge cap guy. If there was a hoodie involved, I might get it. But performances were stellar across the board. Margaret Qualley, Emma Stone,
Jesse Plemons.
Jesse Plemons, of course. Thank you.
God, he's so good.
Oh, who's the black guy? What's his name? He was also really good.
Mamoudou Afdi.
Thank you, Afdi. Yeah,
he was in he was in this little show on Facebook Watch. Sorry for Your Loss, also starring Kelly Marie Tran and Elizabeth Olsen.
Oh, I heard that was good.
In a depot. It was fucking incredible. It went on for 2 seasons, but it was on Facebook Watch, so obviously it died.
Yeah, that was the worst. That was the worst streaming platform ever. Willem Dafoe is also creepy as fuck.
Oh yeah, especially the third story. Oh my god.
Which one? The third story was the one with the sauna.
The cult one, yeah.
The cult,
yeah. That was wild.
The first one and third one are like cults, but
yeah. And I was like, I think I can't tell which one I preferred over the other one. The first one really starts off really good.
I think I liked all of them equally. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like the one for me is the weakest for sure.
I like the second one. I
Maybe,
like
but the second one, the more it went on, I'm like, oh shit, like
Yeah.
this is crazy. What is happening?
And the fucking no spoilers, but like the dogs, like what?
What? Like I'm having so much fun. It what's so special about this movie is that like it's creepy, it's dark, it's unsettling at times, but it also has some points of being very funny amongst like the creepiness. That makes you really like laugh and have like a good time, even though you're like kind of bewildered upon what you're watching. But also, it's like it's not just blank like, oh, creepy weird stuff is happening in each story. No, they're discussing different acts of love, or specifically different acts of kindness, as the title pursues,
Yeah.
in different and crazy and bizarre ways that ultimately, even if it ends in a crazy way, they do kind of make sense for the story that specific tale is telling. And I really loved that. Like I was kind of worried like, is this going to be just an anthology that just kind of vibes or anything like that? But no, like all the like aspects of love and kindness.
They all connect on a thematic standpoint. Like I think the first one does a really good job of establishing this sense of like codependence and like desperation, and like it like kind of like follows through like.
And that's definitely in the second story too.
Oh my gosh!
And the third one with the cult, yeah.
It's so weird, but I was so like.
Well, how different they all were, but yeah, it's still like have that through line thematically.
And that's very difficult to have like interesting character journeys in the span of like 45 or 90 minutes or whatever per story. But it worked. I was completely sold on it. Jesse Plemons was like really selling a lot of the bizarre craziness. His delivery was so on point.
That first one.
Yeah. The first one was just, oh my God. I was
and
like,
the third one, he's just having fun being a weird little
yeah, he's so great in the third one, yeah. It's so good. Yeah, I'm
a fan of anthology movies because like I haven't seen many, but French Dispatch is my favorite Wes Anderson movie, and that's an anthology.
I've never heard you talk about that movie. Weird, yeah.
Fuck off. Amoros Perros from Inarritu I watched recently, and that's a great anthology movie.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, kindness just rocks. I had a great time watching this.
The final scene of this movie. This year has had like so many great movies with great endings, and like this one was probably like up there. Like for me, like it's really good. It's like a really great way to like.
Nothing beats Challengers though.
No, but like it's a really good way in the sense that it destroys like all of the things that the main character within that storyline was working towards, but it feels like it fits. It's like rewarding in a sense.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, this movie, like, I really recommend people to see it. It is Yorgos firing on all cylinders. Different writer from like his popular movies like The Favorite, and
to the weird shit from Lobster and Satyr Deer.
Exactly. I still need to see The Lobster. That's one I haven't.
I watched the first like few minutes of it, but I'm gonna get back to it. It's like rom-com supposedly.
Oh, cool. A man falls in love with the lobster.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, other big movie to get out the way. A Quiet Place Day One came out in June. I think that's like the last one for me at least. And I hated this movie. I'm kidding. I love this movie. This movie is so unique, so cool. Like this franchise is just, it's crazy to think in 2018 that this was going to be such a cool franchise. Walking out of the theater in 2018, I was like, that was a really cool movie. Never expected it to get like a sequel or even a spinoff in this case with a totally different cast. But Lupita Nyong'o is the main lead, and this is probably the most engaging main lead that this franchise has had for me personally. I really loved her story in this movie. It's so moving and so special. Michael Sarnowski is directing this, and he really takes the franchise. You can really tell. You can tell. And some people aren't going to like that because of this. Not that they know like who he is, but just this movie is clearly so different than the other ones. It's more personal, introspective, more how do I phrase it? Like it's not like a family unit. It's a single character with a buddy, but it's mostly her journey.
Way more character focused than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, way more character focused, and for me, that was for the better. Because we've seen the disaster, we've seen the horror. that this franchise can really get into. And those movies or those moments are in this movie. There's a particular parts when it first arrives that's just like so startling. But the character moments are what makes this movie shine and what's so beautiful. Her relationship with homeboy from Stranger Things, who I'm forgetting, Joseph Quinn. Thank you. Was excellent, really special. I really loved how that developed. I love their chemistry with each other, the heart that they have for each other, and just her emotional journey. I was not prepared for where it went, and I loved it.
Yeah, I love how they introduce Joseph Quinn's character being like the loudest motherfucker in the room.
The chat too, like how the chat finds him.
Yeah,
that's one of the best chats in cinema, I think.
Oh my gosh, yes, I totally agree. Yeah.
But I was Michael Sarnowski, man. Like I was surprised at how tender this movie was and how he got away with such a tender story and a blockbuster prequel, horror prequel.
Yeah, I love when you can just walk out of the movie and be like, "How did they get away with that?" Because
for the soul, it's about like humanity and like about just it's so warm and like about friendship and maybe more, and it's so interesting.
Yeah, slight spoilers, I guess, but like one of the things that I was talking about, like in my review for it, was like I thought it was like very like a really nice switch to have this story take place, be centered around a character who is gonna die anyway, because we always see all of these like post-apocalyptic movies or like invasion movies where like the characters just are trying to fight because they want to stay alive, and she wants to fight and stay alive, but not because she knows that she has a life ahead of her, but because
you want pizza.
Not only because of that, but she just wants to get closure with her the connection that she had with her dad. And
the scene in the bar is like, I teared up.
Yeah, it's great. Like again, how did they get away with it? About like if you take away the aliens, the post-apocalyptic thing, like this is just a drama about a woman dealing with her cancer.
It's Sarnowski. Like he got away with so much in this. I keep saying it, but like take away the aliens, it's Pidge.
Like these personal blockbusters, it's so special. Like, walking out of Furiosa, I was like, wow, like that was a lot more character focused. Like how did he get away with it?
Even
Doing part 2, exactly. Yeah, I agree. But I love it.
In terms of the alien and the action, the horror aspect, I will say like one of the things that always bothered me about the first two that I didn't really bought into like the, I guess, terror of these creatures. Like their designs are very basic. They kind of look like the fucking Demogorgons from Stranger Things. But like I felt like the way that they shot them, like with the smoke and like the mist and like how they appear in the water and everything, I thought it was like a little bit more effective here than it was maybe in the first two.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly
because if they had to show more of them, like they did a good job showing more of them.
Yeah. There's a certain water sequence that got me like really chilling. I was like, oh my god, like, oh my god, that was crazy. But yeah, the emotional crescendo of this movie is A+, perfect. Like those last 5 minutes, I'm just sitting there, eyes glued to the screen. I'm like, my heart's to my chest, like
locked in.
I was locked in. Yeah, I was.
Nathan, who didn't see the ending.
Yeah, that was tragic. I know. Yeah. He had to go back. That's fucked up.
Again, another movie. Another great shot. Final shot.
Yeah.
And I keep saying it, but like, it's crazy how the film industry, the studio like industry right now feels so bleak, and yet this is like a landmark year for fresh, character-driven studio blockbusters. Like we keep getting them, like Apes, Dune, Challengers, if you count that, Furiosa. This like they're all so fresh and like so. Like much more intimate than you would think.
Yeah,
great point. Yeah, it's like I watched that at Apes being like, I love that movie. How did he get away? How did Wes Paul get away with that? Like,
exactly.
It's not what you expect, but it's for the better every single time.
And please stop fucking announcing when you're gonna release it on streaming.
This month, come on.
Thank God it already
doing well, right?
It already made its money.
Well.
It's fine. It's fine.
That theater was packed when I went.
Yeah, I think it's going to have a new. I think it might be like the most successful Quiet Place movie, at least domestic.
Good for them.
Give Lupita more
Lionsgate, right?
Yeah, give Lupita way more roles. This is again just re-emphasize it, but she headlines this. It's successful. Give her everything. So yeah, that was it for like big movies in theaters for me.
One more thing.
One more thing.
Give me a second. Me and Edgar went to a special little double feature of Edson Pearl, which was fun.
Yep. I like the
yeah, those movies are great.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about Maxine next month, but
Episode movie of the year, right, Maxine?
I'm so disappointed and I'm so sad.
I forgot how funny X was. Like, I remember really enjoying that movie. But I forgot just how like the comedy hits. Kind of reminds me of like the first like few. I mean, all of them, I guess. Like the best moments of like Scream, of like that, like tapping into that kind of like wacky scenarios and stuff.
And seeing it with a packed theater was like really fun.
Yeah. Also, you could tell that some of these people were like watching it for the first time, so that was extra fun.
That's cool.
And like for Pearl, I still feel the same way. I really like that movie. For me, like it's not even which one I think it's better than the other. It's more so like what I vibe more with. And for me, like just like the comedy aspect of X, like that's something that I vibe with like more than.
Yeah, I think that's more fun, but I really love the vibe of Pearl and the classic Hollywood feel, like down to the store. I think it's like one of the best looking movies of the decade so far. It was absolutely stunning. And Mia Goth in that movie is a fucking force. Like she is unreal in that movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's a certain aspect, like a certain like plot point towards the end with her character that, like, I hadn't seen the movie since it released, but for some reason I remember a certain sequence of how it plays out. Like I remember it differently, and now that I rewatched it, I was like, oh, okay, like it makes it. It adds to the tragedy. Yeah, it adds to the tragedy of her character.
Yep. Did you guys see anything else in theaters?
Horizon, The Exorcism.
I'm seeing Horizon tonight.
Are you gonna watch The Exorcism
next month, or are we going to talk about them now?
I can save up Horizon next month.
Yeah, we'll just see that for next month. We're not gonna have a lot for. Maybe we'll have a lot next month.
I will say though, for The Exorcism, it's a really cool concept of having like this like
Okay, so is this a sequel to the Pope's Exorcism
no,
or whatever?
So
it's a different movie.
This is a movie about making a movie. They're making like a horror movie about this. Like this, it's an exorcism.
It doesn't have Russell Crowe on a Vespa.
He's playing the priest. He's an actor. So they're
that's interesting. Okay.
So yeah, so like they're making a horror. Yeah, they're making a horror movie, but it turns out that this movie is like cursed or whatever. So shit happens. But like it sounds like a cool idea. You make a horror movie about like haunting of a horror.
I kind of want to see this now. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just like they make it so bland. Like you barely see any of the actual making of the movie. Most of it takes place in Russell Crowe's apartment for some reason. It's just very bland. But at least he's having fun, so he's getting that check, so good for him.
All right, before we move on to our last TV shows to talk about, let's do a mid-year update for Letterboxd, our Letterboxd lists.
Ew.
So let me bring this up.
Let me see if I updated mine. Okay. Yeah, we'll go with it. This is not a completed list. It's just a thing I put together this morning. Here we go. This is at Josh's.
This is yours, Evan.
Oh, this is mine. My name's Evan. So I just put Hitman in my top 5. I love The Quiet Place. I love Kind of Kindness. For all the Haikyuu fans out there, go watch the latest movie. It's excellent. Inside Out 2, of course, Civil War. This has been a great movie, a great year for movies in the first half of the year. A great year for personal blockbusters.
The Beekeeper.
Beekeeper's fun.
Yep.
Not Lift. Edgar really sold me on not the Lift down to the bottom. I had it like 4th to last. Like I think I had Madam Web the worst, but we had fun talking about it last time we streamed.
Argyle is not better than Madam Web, and I stand by that.
Damsel is not better than Madam Web either.
Everything in the bottom 5, they're all interchangeable.
Ghostbusters is better than
Damsel's
Roadhouse.
not better than Madam Web? Come on.
Wait, what? Damsel? No, it wasn't.
Come on.
It was.
Come on. I mean,
You
it was
saw
bad.
ISS.
ISS is trash. Yeah.
It's Ariana DeBose, right?
Yep.
All right, now we have Edgar. Long Legs. I'm so excited for that.
Oh, I cannot wait to see Long Legs. I'm like, my inner 7 is coming out. Like, I need to see this movie.
This person like a fucking alien, like a xenomorph.
Right?
Apes lower than I thought it would be. Interesting.
I like it. I love it.
Love Lies Bleeding. First Omen. Hi. Do I need to watch these Omen movies?
I don't know why you're overthinking it.
That is really high. Wow.
I'm so sad that
These
movie didn't get a
movies.
4K release. Oh yeah, you can check some of those reviews on Loud and Clear Reviews. That satisfies like a documentary.
Are they Shrevetta movies?
Yeah, that one. She loved Blossoms More, or whatever it's called. Really cool creature design, but the movie itself was kind of like, eh.
Okay.
All right.
What the fuck is roleplay?
It's on Amazon Prime. It's basically like Mr. and Mrs. Smith if one of them didn't know that the other was a spy.
Oh, you saw this movie with
Yeah.
Mark Freeman?
Not good, Bob.
All right, now we have the actual list right here.
The actual.
TV Dwell is way too good for you guys to be putting it on towards the bottom.
It's in the middle. It's
No.
It's above average. Not like
You
a
guys
movie,
need to-
but like on the
Sometimes the thing
bottom of
about
the list.
Ryan, you guys need to watch that movie. It is magical.
I need to watch Sasquatch Sunset.
Is
Yeah,
sometimes
it's
think
like-
about dying streaming somewhere?
It's on Mubi.
So it's not
You
streaming
did a free
anymore?
trial for it. You did a free trial for it.
Okay. Oh, Frankenstein's the one I didn't watch this year. I was like, I missed something.
It is a blast.
You'll have Spooky Season 2, correct that, Evan? You watched that one? The one with Camila Mendes?
I did. It's not good. It's not good, but it's fun.
Oh, Immaculate that low. Interesting.
Yeah, I like First Omen more.
Yeah.
The Idea of You also not great, but Anne Hathaway legitimately gives one of my favorite performances of the year.
Oh, I never rated Immaculate. Oh wow. I don't think that's on my list.
The Greatest Hits, a really interesting rom-com that just came out and immediately died.
Yeah.
All right, now let's get to before I do this. You guys have been doing the weekly reviews for Hot D. I just want to give my thoughts on it so far. It's fucking great. Of course it is. And episode 2 is probably one of my favorite episodes in all of Thrones.
Agreed. We loved
Yep.
it.
It is
We loved
fantastic.
it. Yeah.
All right, now
That
let's
was
get
it?
to what?
That was it.
I don't have much to say. It's good TV.
I was
What?
waiting
Okay, let me try to hot there.
for- There we go. Okay. Cool.
All right, let's
Yeah,
get
never mind.
some Star Wars in here.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Everybody go watch our.
You always forget about the show.
I do. Why? I'm not a weekdays type of TV guy.
Oh yeah, go watch our weekly hot tea reviews. They're actually doing numbers, surprisingly.
Because me and got thoughts. Whenever, like, before we go into a podcast, I'm like, I took a lot of notes, but I don't know if, like, especially like with episode 3, I'm like, is there going to be a lot to say? But there ended up being a lot to say because there's a lot of storylines. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for episode 4 because there's going to be a big
That's
battle.
the big one. That's the
I'm
big
gonna be
one.
gone. I'm not able to watch it live. I'm sad.
Turn off Twitter, I guess.
Yeah,
People are like,
delete
turn
the
off
app.
Twitter. Like, oh,
I'm
like
seeing
all the.
2001 Space Odyssey for the first time though, so I'm excited.
Oh, nice. I've never seen that either.
I know what happens in episode 4, so yeah, turn it off.
Josh, I feel like as a non-book reader, like have you read the books, Josh? Or
Of course, he's read it. Come on.
I don't know. I had to ask. Josh, as a non-book reader, speaking to you right now.
Wait, have you read the books?
I have not. I have the book. It's collecting dust. I should read it. But as a non-book reader, Josh, I gotta say, I feel like somebody important is gonna die.
Oh yeah, I'm getting that feeling too.
Because all the people are like, if you had to watch
Dances
one
Dragons.
episode,
Can't wait for it. It's the Red Wedding in Padi.
like there's so much hype for this episode. I'm like, it better deliver. So I don't want to get too like, this better be the best episode ever. I'm not expecting that because episode 2 is incredible.
That's why I'm doing this show. I'm not really expecting much. I'm just watching, and I'm loving this show. It's been like that from the jump with me. Like I'm not really watching trailers. I'm just like diving in every week, and I'm loving it. The episode, I don't know why there was so much discourse last week. It was a fucking great episode.
Yeah. I'm listening listening to the audiobook right now, and I'm like for example, like maybe like the first 3 episodes combined, it might be just like 2 pages in the book, and I'm like, God damn.
Wasn't like the full first season just like a couple of paragraphs?
Yeah, it's literally like maybe less than a chapter.
That's so interesting. But I have to go soon. But I want to talk about the Acolyte before I leave. I think that's the only other thing in my notes. Because TV wise, I watched. I'm on episode 4 of The Bear, season 3. Loving The Bear.
Yeah, so we talk about what you've seen so far. But yeah, let's see. Let's talk about.
I feel like again last weekend, if I was here, I went out of town.
The Bear all in one sitting, basically.
I don't want to binge. I want to absorb every episode. So I'm watching
I think this is a good binge. It really works.
Yeah, I'm watching like 1 to 2 episodes per time. But I'm loving on Star Wars of it all. If you want to hear more like my in-depth, like 2 hours per episode on the Acolyte, Nathan and I dive into the Acolyte every week on his channel. Just follow me, Harris EV9, for all my Acolyte updates. And my Twitter feed, of course, always talking about the Acolyte. But I'm having a great time with this show. I am, after episode 5, I'm like, what is this show? And whenever I say like, what is this show? What am I watching? I'm flabbergasted by what Leslie Headland is getting away with this show. Like I loved episode 5, of course, being like the biggest episode. Slight spoilers for Acolyte, by the way, if you're not caught up, F off. But the Acolyte was incredible episode 5, but I feel like the incredibleness, the excellent nature of episode 5, introducing us to the stranger, the reveal thereof of the stranger, wouldn't be possible without like how well structured I think this season has been. I think episode 4 and 5, what?
I said exactly.
Yeah. Episode 4 and 5 could have been one episode, sure. That goes to the Disney Plus of it all. But I still think the episode 4, what it gets into with Osha's arc, May's decisions leading up to episode 5 makes it all one worthwhile package. And then episode 3, people have been complaining about why is the whole episode devoted to a flashback so early into the season. I think that's important to establish.
Who cares? It's a damn good episode.
It's a damn good episode, and it establishes the emotional, crux of what is plaguing both Osha and May. Their emotional journey so far have been predicated upon what happened on Brendok. We get Osha's perspective in a really well done episode 3, directed by Koganada. Really, really, really good director. Go watch his movies, guys. And his story with Osha and May, the sisters, the complexities of the coven, of motherhood, of sisterhood, and how that is torn apart by the arrival of the Jedi, for better or for worse. We'll have to wait and see for episode 7, of course. But even if all the answers aren't revealed, I think episode 3 was just a really interesting and fundamental episode for this series. What?
I'm just saying, like, that whole episode is like exactly what I want Star Wars to be. Like, fresh, exciting, like really well written and performed. Like, it's so fascinating and unique.
Incredibly fascinating, dude. And I was watching it, I was like, there's so much interesting lore here, interesting character building here that I just really wasn't expecting. So yeah, in general, I'm loving Osha and May. Soul, Lee Jung Jae's Soul is just such a breath of fucking fresh air for this series. It's really magical with what we're getting with Soul. It's like, oh my god, and I'm ready to be heartbroken over what the hell he did on Brendock, what he was a part of on Brendock, what he's hiding when Chimere / The Strangers tells him like, what have you done with? I've accepted my darkness. What have you done with yours? And that shudder that Soul feels, I'm just like, oh boy, I'm so ready to see what Soul does with this darkness. What the show is really illustrating and showcasing with the Jedi, their faults a little bit, piece by piece at least, is really interesting. You know, people get really up in arms about showcasing the flaws of the Jedi, where I think the show is doing a great job saying how the Jedi are still the good guys. They're never not going to be the good guys. But just like any institution, there's a lot of flaws, and we're slowly building towards that. And recently with episode 6, I'm just like, oh my god, like this is peak Star Wars for me. The Osha, as soon as I saw Osha and Chimere in episode 2, I'm just like, oh, that was interesting. But then getting Osha and Chimere, that relationship is just going
enemies to lovers, baby.
It's peak enemies to lovers. It's romantasy at its best. You know, seeing Chimere get naked, I'm like, Jalen, my brother, I was like, what are we watching?
We're seeing some ass in Star Wars. I thought we would.
Right? it was wild. And then if you're not going to get in with me, then can you give me my clothes? I'm like, this guy just murdered like 6 people, all these Jedi, and he's being so vulnerable, so loving, not loving, but, you know, so vulnerable, so like out there with Osha, which is completely different for how he was with May. He didn't even say who he really was with May. So it's a complicated, interesting dynamic that I can't wait to see developed. And he's telling Osha, Josh, you talked about this early on with one of the movies we were talking about, where it's like they're developing, or Hitman, where they're revealing these hidden truths about each other. Chimere, the stranger, isn't trying to overtly manipulate May to the dark side, but he's expressing the hidden truths that she's avoided her lives because of her complicated relationship with the Jedi. She should be allowed to feel this fear, these anger, these emotions that she's been hiding from herself. You know, some people have said Osha has been a bit too passive. Even I have said that. Osha's been very passive. She wasn't willing to say goodbye to Soul. She was willing to let the Jedi handle May. She's had a very strained relationship with the Jedi.
Have a little issues. I don't know if it's issues, but like I just think the whole Osha May characters are a bit underdeveloped so far. Like I think it's a bit tropey and a little one note. But I think like Amanda Stenberg is she's committing so hard to it and really like elevating the material for her. But I would love to see more. Like we have 2 episodes left. I would have loved to see more for them. Just more interesting dynamics, I think. But
yeah, I think mostly I've had the instance where I'm more interested, at least until episode 6. I was more interested in May's development because May was much more of the aggressive. I mean, physically aggressive. Of course, she's killing people, but just the more assertive character. And I think it's been actually a point of Osha's character to be a bit more shallow and passive. Of course, it could be better written. I agree, but like I think part of it was also pointed that she was to be more passive. She was to be like this person who was just along for the ride with the Jedi and not putting a lot of ownership on herself, because she still is, as Chimere talks about in episode 6, you're still hiding a piece of yourself that you're not letting breathe, really. Like you're not letting yourself breathe in these fear, these emotions that you've had about the Jedi, why you left the Jedi in the first place. You obviously still wanted to be a Jedi, but you felt like you had to hide that part from yourself. You had to feel like she's running away all the time. She's not confronting these emotions until Chimere is finally like, no, you're allowed to feel these emotions, which is just a very interesting dynamic. And then her putting on the helmet at the end, just letting her finally connect with the Force on a deeper level. That's been kind of her arc this season in terms of connecting with the Force, finding a way to connect with the Force. I thought that would be when she gets to reconcile with her sister, which I think will happen in episode 8. But Chimere being the one to finally push her was really cool for me. So yeah, I've loved episode 5 and 6 in particular, but I've been loving how fresh and cool this season of the Acolyte has.
On with like May's and Osha's writing, I do have one more like kind of complaint. Episode runtime discourse is fucking stupid. I hate it, but I do think the show could have had. I just wish it had more time to like develop and sit with these characters and like just breathe. Like I feel like the pacing has been my main issue so far. It's just been that or like very slow, and like I think it's a bit off and not consistent. But besides that, man, like I think the writing is so fascinating and really like smart. I think the sets look really good. I just love this time period that we're dealing with. Huh?
Yeah, I'm joking. You mean the volume? I said.
You can use the volume though.
I know. Joke.
Real quick, but I agree with you, Josh, in terms of like the pacing and the runtime. I had this similar. I was talking about it with somebody else, one of my friends, and I had this similar thing with Percy Jackson recently. Percy Jackson also being
all these Disney Plus shows, man. Like it's up Andor and a few others. Like most of them have issues with pacing.
Yeah, and it's like I love Percy Jackson. I thought I had a very fun time with the show. Obviously, I had a better time because I was reading the books as well. But like, I love the characters so much. The same thing for the Acolyte. I love these characters so much. I just want to live with them and their decisions.
Yeah, let them breathe.
Exactly. It's
let's like stick with them.
Exactly. And luckily, with Percy Jackson and now with the Acolyte, I'm loving these characters, so it's not hindering my experience too much. It just, like Josh is saying, it could be better. So hopefully they learn from that in season 2.
But yeah, all the performances are incredible. I think Lee Jung-jae, yeah, he's unreal. Like he's one of the best we've had in Star Wars recently. I really loved Charlie Bartnett as Zord, as everyone did. Daphne Keane as Jetty was really fascinating. Like amidst of like Ahsoka and like a little bit of Anakin, like it was really interesting. And my man Manny Jacinto as the stranger. Spoilers, but I don't care. Fucking incredible, unreal, big brain level casting that I'm so glad they're committing to, and he's killing it.
He's unreal, so excellent, and I've had a fun time like watching the past.
Casting Jason from The Good Place as a Sith Lord is just like unreal shit, and I love Leslie Headland so much.
I need to watch the Good Place now because
it's one of my favorite sitcoms ever.
Is that on Peacock? Is that an NBC show? But because he's just absolutely killing it. The Chimera persona in the first 4 episodes, the Stranger persona, and now seeing like the mix of that in episode 6, like where he's just calm and stuff like that, has just been so good. He's playing a lot of different roles here with one character, and it's so well done. But yeah, I have to go. So yeah, I gotta go catch Horizon. So I gotta peace out.
Go fall asleep for 3 hours. You know.
I know. We'll see how it goes.
You're not in a hurry, Evan. He doesn't show up until like an hour in.
So yeah, I will catch you guys later. Again, follow me on Twitter, HarrisEV9 for all the podcasts that I'm doing these days. See you guys later. Peace out.
See ya.
I just realized that now the background is gonna look weird, but it doesn't matter.
Have one. Give me a second.
Yeah, it's fine. No, but I was just talking about the Acolyte and pacing. I think it's a very interesting conversation to have because leading up to like what we're gonna talk about right now, the bear. I think people. Wait, what?
That one said May.
Oh, okay.
Let's pretend this says June.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, but I think like people are just like maybe because of COVID, maybe with streaming. I don't know. People just grown so impatient with TV in particular. Like the pacing issues that you brought up with the Acolyte, I would agree with it, and it kind of reminds me, and not to keep bringing up Game of Thrones, but like the later seasons of Game of Thrones, like 7 and 8, were like the biggest things that hindered that show. Was
at least those those had time to breathe a bit, like without.
Yeah, like it had a build up to it, but like once it got to like the climax of that series, like it was just like, okay, let's just hit this point and then
bam,
finish it. Bam, and that's how it feels with the Acolyte, and that is why I'm very grateful having like a season of the Bear of season 3 where all of it is just
Great
it's just
segue.
character work. Yeah, it's all it's just character like work. Like I don't know about you, Josh, but I've noticed a pattern with the show where like season 1 is like the chaotic, very anxiety inducing season in the sense that these characters just like there's this fine line between like hatred and love for each other, and then you go to like season 2 where like that sense of
They're
chaos
starting
is
to
still
love each
there.
other.
Yeah, but they're starting to love each other and they're starting to like learn how to work with each other again. And then
And
we go back to season 3, and again
it's a
that
mix of the
sense of
both. Yeah,
it's a mix of
the
both,
two.
but like the chaos is kind of like overlapping and like almost like
Mhm.
overtaking
Yeah.
the sense of peace, and it's like hindering the relationships between all of these people. And yeah, I just thought this season was great. Very much feels like a part of one of like a whole story, where like season 1 and 2 you can feel like it was like a beginning, middle, and end of a story. This feels very much like almost like halfway, but I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a bad thing. But yeah, like I love
This
the
is a
pacing of the
bridge
show.
season, but it's
Yeah.
done like the best I've ever fucking seen.
Yeah. I mean, you've seen it how many times now? 2?
I'm halfway through my rewatch, so only 1.5 basically.
All right. But yeah, like great show.
But I've seen Tomorrow like 3 times, and the finale a couple times.
That's the first one, right? Tomorrow
premiere and finale. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I forgot about the titles of these.
God, Tomorrow, the premiere. Oh my fucking god, that's one of the best episodes of TV I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's a great way to like pair it also with the finale, especially the relationship between Carmi, or like his confrontation with Carmi, and I forgot the
also full spoilers for this because we want to dive into it.
Yeah, with Joe McHale's character of you have.
Yeah, oh my god, dude!
Like we've seen bits and pieces of why this guy is the way that he is, but like we finally get to breathe with it like for a full episode, and we're actually inside of his head. And like it's a great way to like pair it with the finale, because then he finally has the chance to say all of the things that he has like holding on for all of these years to the guy that caused him all of this pain and all of this, well, one of the many people that caused him all of this pain and all of this anxiety, and he's like unable to say all the things that we've seen him or wanting to say. And again, it's just very tragic, but it's
more like dumbfounded and like
but
about what the result of that is.
Yeah, but it's also like very poetic in a sense, because like what can you say? Like the damage is already done, and what you have to do is just move on, which again goes like fits really well with the scene that he has with Olivia Colman's character later.
And let me say, Olivia Colman in the show like is just so wonderful.
Yeah, I was not expecting her, because I when she pops up in season 2, I was like, oh, that's a cool like guest star, and then like I love
that all of them come back to it, kind of recurring a bit, and
they kind of get like little character arcs.
Yeah, like the show I think is the best example of character like studies and development I've seen in a long time, maybe ever. I think the arts and relationships and the dynamics are so special and so unique and fresh. I think season 2 especially, but like here also, like just the dynamic with Carmi and like him wanting to like commit so hard into like being focused on this that it fucking destroys him, and it makes him become the fucking guy he hates.
Yeah. Again, like we keep coming back to the finale, but I feel like there's a lot of stuff in the finale there where like that conversation in the table with all of these chefs where they're talking about like their first dish that was like added to the menu, and like how proud they felt, and like again like going back to like with Ayo with Sydney, like how like the camera focused on herself, and she's almost like not it's like a mix between like almost like shame and like anger, of like
because she was shamed when she did that for the review in season 1.
Yeah, but also shame because like I feel like deep down she's like frustrated with herself that she didn't stand up for herself enough. And
she's letting Carmi like put together the whole menu by the end of the season.
Yeah, and it's even more tragic because, well, as she's very clearly going through something in the table, Carmen is focused on something entirely else and disregarding her feelings in that scene, in that moment.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And another a bit from the finale, like the whole party scene, the after party scene, the wholesomeness of it, and like just the vibes. Immediately, the whiplash from that to Sid's breakdown, like
and then the
it. Oh
review.
man, yeah, it's
How do you
rough. It's rough out here.
how do you feel about the review? Because I've seen some people that it's like kind of like beg of like, is it positive? Is it negative? It kind of it seems
I don't
negative,
know.
but
Yeah, I
yeah,
think it seemed like what does he say, like shit or something, or something negative, obviously, right? Like,
yeah,
or it could just be like it's just a mixed review, and that
yeah,
it's not like the best of the best like he was striving for.
yeah. But again, like going back to what we were saying of like the back and forth between like season one chaotic, season two a little bit more harmonious, season three again a little bit more chaotic. I feel like season four is gonna try to go back to that um, tone of season two of like trying to get these people back together, and it's gonna be really rewarding to see,
Especially for the
especially
final season, possibly.
yeah, especially with Carmi now that it seems that he can finally move on and actually
But like,
make a
will
change.
Sydney accept the offer
It might be a
from
little
the
bit too
other
late.
guy?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. And now the tragedy of that will be heartbreaking to see, but it'll make so much sense for both their arts too.
yeah. But yeah, we've been focusing a little bit on Sydney and Carmi, but Richie this season too, like just like not even like his like because we've like joked between us about like his possible relationship with Jazz, which I mean it would be
I need
really
it.
cool.
I need it.
We would be I would love to see it too, but like also just from like a character perspective, it's like you've seen this guy like be like kicked down like in season one and two, not only in the restaurant but also like personally with like you could tell that he still wants to maybe go back to the
He
family
wants to
and
find his purpose. That's what season two
yeah,
is, and he finally does it in Forts, which is I
yeah,
think one of the best episodes of television ever made. And I think it's still the best of the series.
yeah,
I think tomorrow it's pretty close. And episode 6, which we need to talk about, also very close. But yeah, his arc is just like it's one of acceptance and like finding your purpose, which that's one of my favorite tropes in storytelling.
that line that he has between him and Sugar where she's asking him like, oh, what does your daughter think about how you are
Their
right now?
dynamic, their growth, their dynamic
Yeah.
is so special. Like, ugh.
Yeah, like the line being like of him saying like, oh, she thinks that I'm lonely, and I'm like, ah,
Oh my god. And that's why I think Richie and Jess just made so much sense. Like I think they're fit for each other, and I think it's time for him to move on from Julian Jacobs or whatever character's name is, and Josh Hartnett, which was a wonderful surprise.
yeah. Him what is it, John Cena? That's
John Cena as a fat is just genius.
Yeah.
I don't care. I fucking love the fats.
Yeah, but yeah, what else? You want to go to jump to like napkins?
Napkins is special, man. Like I really loved what they did with Tina in season 2, and that whole her arc with Sydney is so special in their relationship, and the fact that Io directed this episode just speaks. It's just so heartwarming, and I think it's not like it's so incredible, and the scene with her and John Bernthal is just it's unreal. I don't know what to say. It's just so incredible, and how it ties back into season 1 or the episode 1 when we see that scene of John Bernthal showing her the phone, like the picture on his phone, and that's actually the first time they met. Like that fucking got me.
Yeah. Again, another dumb complaint about this season is that there's too many flashbacks, but like I think and flashbacks
That's what the show is about. This show is steeped in flashbacks.
Yeah, but like I feel like flashbacks can be misused, but like when you use them for actual like character purpose, like it makes things way better. And like for me, like again, like you mentioned that Ayo directed the episode, I think that's a little bit poetic because I feel like the episode itself it explains a lot of why Tina is the way that she is towards Sydney in season 1. All of this woman who lost her job, her purpose, her income, all of it, and like the fact that Mickey is the one who gives her like a second shot at life in a sense, and like she becomes very loyal to what the beef was, and like once somebody else comes in and tries to change it, obviously you're gonna be a little bit hesitant. But again, like it's just like great character work of like not even like trying to like over explain it, just like it's like the missing piece that you didn't know you needed in the whole
Mhm.
puzzle.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Other highlights from the season, Ice Chips. Saying all about Nat's like pregnancy and her going to labor with Donna coming back and their dynamic, and those two performances I think are some of the best in the season. It's so like this show just gets like the smaller moments, and the writing is so organic and special, and like it's beautiful.
Yeah, also I think why it's like so special is because it gets how to write different kinds of people. Like they all feel like people that you've met, that you've encountered in your life.
Yeah.
Like people that sometimes you might even have some kind of tension with. But like, it just feels like so natural in the show. Like with Sugar and Donna, like then kind of like having this like reconciliation in this season, especially how we know that how Donna treated her in Fishes.
Fishes, yeah.
It's gonna be very interesting to see like maybe in season 4, see Carmi try to like reconnect with his
there's
mother.
There's that moment in an episode after Ice Chips where like Nat texts Donna a picture of the baby like with a smiley or whatever. Like there's that relationship has like officially like reformed, which is really fascinating to see.
Yeah. Another storyline that I like, but I wish we might have gotten a little bit more, even though like I don't know if I think it's good enough what we get, but like the story with Marcus, his grief again.
Yeah. I think that's just like it's really beautiful.
Yeah, it's a really great way to like parallel how different people deal with grief, because obviously we've seen how Carmi is, and then you have this guy who is like he's not like taking it out on anybody, he's just like kind of like accepting that it is what it is. And if that were to happen to something like Carmi, like it would the restaurant would be on fire right now.
Exactly. And I just want to end this on weird place to end, but on the season premiere. I've said this a lot about the show, but that's just how good the show is. Like, this is one of the best season premieres I've ever seen. It's the tone poem of like going through Carmi's life and him reflecting on these memories and being sucked back into them as he's trying to move on. And there's that tweet that we've seen going around. Let me try and bring it up. That like really encapsulates this episode really well.
Yeah, just like not to make fun of the episode, but like every time that that you saw Carmi and Sugar having that conversation, like at the airport or the bus station, I forgot what it was. That man's eyes are way too blue. I'm like, you are like the that
you're
should be like the new. You're a Freeman, yeah. The spice.
But this is from at Project Seastra on Twitter. The Bear season 3 premiere being told tomorrow, and then trapping Carmi in a series of yesterdays, marinating him in memories of grief and regret and loss, having him flee each time only to end up right back where he started. This time with his own design. Like that's such a great encapsulation of this episode, and it's a perfect tone setter for this season and where the show's going. And I think the Reznor and Ross's music to accompany it is perfect and beautiful and really special.
Yeah, it's not even like just a good way to summarize the episode. It's a good way to summarize his arc in season 3, because it's just a series of himself like trapping himself again in like a series of what would you even call it? Of like this like change of trauma that he's continuing, of like of the experiences that he had as a student of this art of like becoming a chef, and now he's inflicting it on others again. Like he's supposed to move on, but he's still trapped in the past, in yesterday. So yeah, love the show.
I think that comes back in the finale where like I think that confrontation with Joel McHale is him finally like getting to move on from the series of yesterdays and try to like fix what he destroyed in the process of the season.
Yeah, it's his Thanos moment of like you took everything away from me. Like I don't even know who you are. Yeah,
exactly.
But yeah, I love this show. Can't wait for season 4.
It's the best show on TV right now, personally. And the fact that we're doing it yearly is like we talked about earlier. Like, that's rare these days. And this is supposed to be filmed back to back originally too, but didn't because of stripped. But
Yeah. Did they not shoot anything for season 4 at all?
they,
or just
they
like
said they shot
something?
some stuff, but they
Something?
decided the strips weren't done for the
Alright.
rest of it.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. And that's
But
good
yeah.
because we'll probably did it like earlier next year, which makes me happy.
Hopefully.
And yeah, there's so many other smaller moments in this show that are brilliant, but like, yeah, it's just, I'm sure I want to do at some point when the show's wrapping up, just do like a full comprehensive like discussion about everything.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's the show. I don't think I have anything else besides the Tribeca movies, but you can just check my reviews on Light and Clear. And
Rotten Tomatoes.
And Rotten Tomatoes, apparently. Not all of them are added in Rotten Tomatoes. That's why I couldn't add them there. But yeah. But yeah, where can people find you, Josh?
At Josh D. Woodbury on Twitter for random thoughts. Yeah.
And yeah, you can find this podcast at WHFG Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, Threads, everything. And you can find me at EDGRTEG on all social medias. Also, like, obviously, our main thing here is YouTube, but if you just want to listen to the audio version, you can do it on iTunes, Spotify, or whatever platform you prefer for podcasts. And yeah,
we've been slacking lately, but
yeah,
the plan is to do more, but we'll see.
Hopefully 2018 sometime this month.
We've been saying it for a year now.
We didn't even do our nomination resolution
announcement. Man, we fucked up.
Yeah, but it's
Life's busy.
Yeah, but hey, you can at least see me on Monday discussing House of the Dragons. So yeah,
I might show up one of these days. We'll see.
For the finale, maybe. Yeah, hopefully at the very least. But yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Let them come.